Good morning. Good morning. I'm Henry Yang, Chancellor of UC Santa Barbara, and good morning and welcome. Welcome to our commencement. This is the first of 8 separate commencement ceremonies for our class of 2008, with a total of 4,800 students. Today, our focus is on 94 graduates of the College of Creative Studies. This tells just how special you are. The college was established in 1967. This year, we celebrated the 40th anniversary of our College of Creative Studies. Yeah, let's... The college was created for especially gifted students like yourselves, full of intellectual curiosity and independent-minded, as your parents can attest to that. You came here because of your desire to pursue an intensive course of study through a personalized learning experience, so you can control your own destiny. Through this unique CCS type of liberal arts education, you have been active participants in your own education. That education does not stop today. It will continue for the rest of your life under your own control. Now, please permit me to recognize our honored guests here today. Executive Vice Chancellor Jean Lucas, would you stand up so we can... Associate Vice Chancellor Maria Herrera Sobek, I don't think she's here. So maybe I have quite a long list to introduce, so we'll just hold our pause and give them a big round of warm, hearty applause afterwards. Vice Chancellor of Student Affairs Michael Young, would you stand so we can? And Vice Chancellor of Institutional Advancement John Wyman, former Provost of College of Creative Studies and Professor Emeritus of French and Italian Bill Ashby, Associate Vice Chancellor for Academic Program Ron Tobin, Associate Vice Chancellor for Public Affairs Paul DeRusso. I would also like now to introduce our teachers, our wonderful teachers. Dr. Robin Bell, Literature. So, Mary Bell Bueno Cachadina in mathematics. Dr. Cynthia Brown, French and Italian. Mr. Dan Connolly, Art. Dr. Omer Eki Kliklu, Computer Science. Miss Linda Ekstrom, Art. Dr. Cora Orman, Computer Science. Dr. Kathy Foltz, Biology. Dr. Phil Conrad, Computer Science. Miss Tatiana Ginsberg, Art. Mr. Mac Test, English. Dr. Jeremy Haladina, Music Composition. Dr. Leslie Hogan, Music Composition. Dr. Bernard Kirkman, Chemistry and Biochemistry. Dr. David Lowe, Molecular, Cellular, and Developmental Biology. Dr. Leroy Leverman, Chemistry and Biochemistry. Mr. Hank Pitcher, Art. Dr. Harry Reese, Art and Associate Dean of College of Creative Studies. Dr. Francesca Roy, Physics. Dr. Barry Specs, Literature. Dr. Jeffrey Stewart, Chair, Black Studies. Dr. Claudia Tyler, Biology. Dr. Tatila Vanderveen, Physics. Dr. Robert Warner, Ecology, Evolution, and Marine Biology. And let's give them a round of applause. We also welcome our very special guest, the class of 1972 CCS Art Program, Kick Boise-Cossart. We are honored to have Mr. Cossart as our commencement speaker today. On behalf of today's graduates, I would like to thank our CCS ambassadors and donors for their generosity. I would like to thank our distinguished faculty for your dedication to providing an outstanding undergraduate experience. That doesn't include exam experience. I would like to thank our staff for taking such good care of our students. Leslie Campbell, Karen Poirier, Frank Bauman, Dan Hornslet, Emily Parsons, and Christopher Wilderman. Would you all stand so we can applaud? Give you applause. You can see how much our students love you. I would also like to thank our administrators for your support for CCS. And I would like to thank our accomplished alumni who are such good role models for our students. I would also especially like to thank our family members and the friends of our graduates for your support and encouragement over the years. Let's give them a round of applause. Now, to our graduates, I say congratulations. In our high-tech world, you got your degree the old-fashioned way. You earned it. And you earned it the Santa Barbara way. What is the Santa Barbara way? During your years on our campus, you have demonstrated to all of us how truly special you are. We have come to appreciate your genius, your curiosity, your imagination, and your creativity, especially your ability to have a good time. In my job, I receive complaints from students from time to time, but never from students from CCS. Do you know why? That's because you're too busy to create your own things. Let me now say something about the accomplishment and recognition for UC Santa Barbara, which you are a part of and you are all pride. We are one of only 62 members of the prestigious Association of American Universities. This distinction places UC Santa Barbara among the top 2% of all universities in the United States and Canada. During the past decade, 5 of our active faculty members have won Nobel Prizes. That's a record. There have been so many other distinguished faculty honors across all disciplines, too many to mention here today. UC Santa Barbara has grown tremendously in recent years. As you look around our campus today, you can see it growing right before your eyes, starting with our new campus entrance. I like to prepare charts to illustrate the development of a campus. We have curves to show the sharp growth in faculty awards, the academic quality and the diversity of our class, of our students, the rise in research grants, the rise in the increase in private support. We also have curves that show the upward climb of our rankings nationally and internationally. I've been integrating all these curves in a way that allows me to track a significant trend. I call this indicator the UC Santa Barbara Pride Index. It illustrates the rising value of UC Santa Barbara diploma. Congratulations to our parents and students. Your investment in this campus was a good one because our stock is always up and up sharply. We're glad that you made UC Santa Barbara your choice. Through the degrees that you are about to receive, we recognize the success that you have achieved in your particular fields of study. We also acknowledge that you have met the standards, the rigor, and the discipline required by the University of California. I can tell you with confidence that starting today and for the rest of your lives, you will always be proud to say you are a graduate of University of California, Santa Barbara. I now have the honor of introducing Dr. Bruce Tiffany, our energetic and dedicated Dean of the College of Creative Studies. He is a very special 24/7 type of dean with all his energy and heart devoted to our CCS students. We appreciate his unconditional passion and long-standing devotion to our college, to our campus, and most of all, to our undergraduate students. Please welcome Dean Bruce Tiffany.
Good morning, and again, welcome to this, the 40th graduation of the Magical College of Creative Studies. I actually gave my address last year as Dumbledore. This year I'm going to go in a more somber direction, but it still is a magical institution. It is magical because of the students who are drawn to it. It's my pleasure to welcome those who have come to celebrate with us this day, parents, family, friends, alumni, colleagues. All of you, thank you for being here, but particularly the guests of honor, the graduating class of 2008. Nominally, tomorrow is just another great big day, as Calvin's mother used to tell him as she tucked him into bed. You may remember the little thought cloud that emanated from Calvin's brain. But you know, for the graduates, it's not. This is the first day of your post-undergraduate life. 4 years here have shaped your directions, and now you go forward to use this experience, perhaps to graduate school, perhaps to a career, but certainly to life on Earth. And as Indiana Jones said, someday, kid, you're going to have to get out of the library. When you do, you're going to go forth into a challenging and uncertain world laden with national and global conflicts, coupled with a widening and, may I say, long overdue realization of the finite nature of this planet and its resources. In a way, you've always been in that world, but CCS has offered a funny, warm nest. Granted, lined with thorns and spines. It's a nest that has protected you, even as it has placed high demands on your energies and pushed your limits. Now you go out into what is called, quote unquote, the real world and have to start balancing objectives. Life, work, politics, viewpoints, comfort, social relations, creative energies, ethics. Is it time to start making decisions, making judgments? Is it time that you become reasonable, set sights on things near enough to touch, possible to attain? Reasonable people. We're all reasonable people, are we not? We're not fools. We know who number one is. We know our responsibility begins and ends in our own garden. What's wrong with that? Why should we stick our necks out when many others do not? What's wrong with taking care of your own garden? The answer is your garden borders on another, and that upon yet others. The world has really changed in my lifetime and ever more rapidly in yours. We can no longer keep up the walls between our gardens and the gardens around us. The global economy is a structural reality, even as the internet makes the lives of others part of our own. From earthquakes and typhoons of this year down to the knowledge that those protesting about Tibet are wearing clothes and waving Tibetan flags made in China. These are times that require insight, education, and resolve, and perhaps most importantly, a recognition that we are in this all together. It is very easy to pick out differences in people and political stances and in religions, but we should be seeking the common survival, the common good. These are times that require idealism. And I cannot think of anything more risky than that to wish you idealism. Nor can I think of any better descriptor of the College of Creative Studies. Over these past 4 years, you have been idealists, crossing intellectual boundaries, interacting with students whose philosophies and specializations have been greatly different from your own. Perhaps it is the most important to remember that you have done so in an environment in which students were not in competition with each other, but they were collectively in battle with ignorance. Many will say the real world is about competition, embodied particularly in politics and economics. But I believe this is as much a false premise as the belief that an education is about the grade. It's not about the grade, and you folks know that better than most. It never was about the grade. An education is about making yourself, and through your efforts, the world anew. In this election year, we Americans find ourselves doubly cursed by emphasis on differences, both between and within parties. We listen to debates lacking data or the clear elucidation of policy. Debates that seek to erect barriers rather than find common ground. We've actually forgotten the idea of our founding fathers that the loser of the race for president would automatically become the vice president. The 12th Amendment to the Constitution was a response to party-based politics and, in my mind, reflects a loss of idealism, denying this original intent of the founders of our nation. Internationally, we find ourselves in a war upon terror in which our leaders look to simple battlefield solutions. But strategists are in agreement we cannot win a war by sheer force when the physical battleground is momentary. Rather, we need to address an intellectual and cultural battleground that requires policymakers be educated and able to grasp the viewpoints of all involved and to make decisions that are multilateral. We can and we must command this ground. It is students like you who will help us do so. As inhabitants of Earth, we have long lived with the delusion that the margins of our narrow daily compass give way to a limitless horizon of resources. Thank you for being here today. Oil is the most apparent wake-up call to this dream. But others are going to follow. I fear water even more. The need to accept the essential perception that we are not on Earth, but that we are of Earth, has never been more pressing. To address these and other challenges, we need humans who can break from the set ways of our tribalistic and regionally thinking forebears. Synthesis who can use vision, flexibility, and the full diversity of social, cultural, technical, and scientific knowledge to make the world anew. Idealists who will not take no for your future. So in the end, what I wish for you is what you are. You are, you have been, and you should continue to be idealists, fools, unreasonable people, tumbling over the neat borders of ideas, expectations, and dogmas, and the makers of our future world. Tomorrow is indeed another great big day, Calvin. Go get 'em. Each year, the College of Creative Studies invites a distinguished alumnus or alumna to address the graduating class. It's my pleasure this year to introduce this year's speaker, Kit Boise-Cossart. Kit graduated from CCS in 1972 with a degree in art. Upon graduation, he took the skills and aesthetic that he learned in the studio to a much larger canvas, moving into construction, where he sought to unite architects and their clients in the development of an environmentally conscious design with practical construction results. As a result, he has evolved into an internationally recognized figure in the construction of environmentally sensitive residential structures. In 1999, he joined others to found Santa Barbara's Green Building Alliance, a then small group of building professionals committed to a comprehensive team approach to green building design and construction. This was one of the first for-profit organizations of its kind in the United States. He's also a member of the U.S. Building Council, noted for their widely adopted green building rating system, LEED, of which our campus boasts several examples. Leadership in energy and environmental design. Kit's work has been widely published in books and periodicals, Building with Vision, Optimizing and Finding Alternatives to Wood, Little House on a Small Planet, Living Homes, Sustainable Architecture and Design, and again, a variety of publications and magazines. His vision is not limited to the local. He recently returned from South America, where he was a consultant for a green residential building project by the modernist Chilean architectural firm Mesiris. Kit and his wife Beverly live on the Gaviota Coast in Santa Barbara County and have 2 adult children, unfortunately neither of whom attended CCS. But that aside, please welcome Kit to the podium.
Wow. Thank you, Dean Tiffany. Thank you, Chancellor Yang, CCS faculty and staff, and parents, friends, and our graduates. You know, here in the United States, the average new house is way too big. It eats up too many resources to build and operate, and it's way too expensive. We pollute the air inside with the materials we use in the home's paint, cabinets, and floor coverings. Outside, we put lawns and plants in that will never grow unless we poison everything that moves and fertilize it with toxic chemicals. Then we overwater it. And that's only the beginning of the problem. A house is a reflection of the huge environmental impact that takes place when raw materials are extracted for construction, and the way power is generated for the house, and the way we use our water. Building Green strives to solve these problems. It rethinks how a structure is designed and used so that it's good for the environment, healthy for the inhabitants, and affordable. Green building is not only about houses, it's about skyscrapers, factories, schools, hospitals, and universities. Green building is part of a larger movement called sustainability. Sustainability seeks to be environmentally responsible, fiscally viable, and socially just in all areas of our lives. It's the 21st century's remake of the Golden Rule. Let me give you a current example, and it's not perfect, of what green building can accomplish under the sustainability umbrella. The other day, I was in the university center here on campus, and I ducked into the bathroom. As I was standing in front of the urinal, staring at the tiles, I realized it was one of those new waterless types. Something's going on here. Then, last week on Wednesday, our governor declared we are in the midst of a severe drought. He warned all residents and water managers to immediately cut water use or face possible rationing. Well, I discovered that our very own UCSB has been anticipating times like these. Over the last couple of years, the campus has developed a sustainability plan that includes water conservation. A very humble part of that plan, but not insignificant, involves replacing old flush urinals on campus with new waterless models. I might lose the women here, but hang in there when I get to the money part. I did some calling around and found out that these old urinal beasts use anywhere from 20,000 to 40,000 gallons of water each year. So far, UCSB staff has replaced about 60 of them. Now, every year, those 60 waterless urinals can save up to 2,400,000 gallons of water. Not only that, all that water won't be going down the drain and through the waste treatment plant, which I think is over here by the airport in Goleta, and out into the ocean. Staff has another 390 urinals to go. UCSB could save over 17 million gallons of water yearly once they go in. Now, to get an idea of how much water that is, imagine we fill up Campbell Hall all the way to the ceiling. Not just once, not twice, but 3 times. That amounts to about 7% of the water that UCSB uses a year. You know, the water savings are incredible, but the next question is it economically viable? What's the financial incentive here? Installing the next 390 waterless urinals would run about $390,000. The savings in water and maintenance costs is estimated to be $200,000 a year. That means these new devices could be paid off in 2 years. Beyond that, $200,000 could be taken off the expense side of the ledger for every year thereafter. That's a pretty sweet deal. You know, the way we've been building in our world has put us in deep trouble with the environment. We're beginning to recognize that building green is crucial to our success in creating clean, non-polluting structures for living in, learning in, and working in. You might be wondering, well, where do I fit in? We can't succeed without you. We need your help, because the most important resource in the world today is with you. It's your creativity. Please join me with your brilliance, your talents, your curiosity, your enthusiasm, and above all, your compassion. And let's build a more sustainable world. Thank you very much.
And may I say, that is idealism. Thank you, Kit. I now have the pleasure of presenting 3 students who have been chosen to speak for the College of Creative Studies class of 2008. Starting with Grant Harlan Buckowitz, BS in Physics. A native of San Diego, Grant is noteworthy in a program full of outstanding students. While at UCSB, he has pursued research in the laboratory of Professor Jim Speck in the Materials Department, working on the development of thin films of gallium nitride. Was that? Well, never mind. It is a substance that will be of great interest in an increasingly energy-conscious and data-rich world because it will help in both using less energy and storing more data. His professors admire the precision and versatility with which he uses the English language and his sharp sense of humor. Like the 800-pound gorilla's choice of a spot for a nap, Grant has been accepted every PhD program to which he has applied and has chosen to go to Berkeley for a PhD in materials science this fall. Please join me in welcoming Grant.
Thank you. Well, Mom and Dad, you always made sure I went to class. Every fall for the past 16 years, I'd haul a backpack around with new pencils, new textbooks, and new notebooks, hoping it would all lead to something good. Well, 4 years, 120 weeks of classes later, here we are. Family, parents, grandparents, siblings, friends, we're all here. Some of us have been picturing this moment in our heads for weeks, for months, for years, wondering how it would look, how we'd all look, how the pictures would come out. I always wondered if I'd look like Dustin Hoffman in The Graduate. But hopefully my parents didn't get me a massive scuba suit. But sincerely, I could not be happier being surrounded by all of you and seeing so many familiar faces here this morning. There's a lot that can and should be said about the graduates today, but it's not so much about the words said. It's about the moment and taking time out to savor it. It's about the people. It's about who we are and what painstaking journeys we've all been on to get here. And we each have stories for you. Surmounting challenges that seem daunting and impossible, learning about and becoming experts in fields of knowledge that may go over your heads when you try and talk about them. For every sunny day at the beach we've had or rocked out party we've gone to, we spent time working hard in the classroom or studying at the library or writing papers or putting together a big project or presentation. Sure, we'll hear ourselves being referred to as the future makers and shakers of the world. As you look out on the stage, you see the future authors, journalists, playwrights, painters, composers, researchers, theorists, and teachers. Did I leave anyone else out? Computer programmers, sculptors, everything. But the impressive thing is, and this is greatly due to being part of the College of Creative Studies, we are already authors, journalists, playwrights, painters, composers, researchers, and so on. We are establishing ourselves in fields and professions where we've studied so hard to become parts of, but also ones that we love and want to be dedicated to. The College of Creative Studies has given so much to the students, so much of a voice, so much time and space and lectures on curved space-time and encouragement. The fact that CCS is small and has its own community of gifted people has allowed me to become good friends with professors and advisors, to take fun, interesting classes, and make a lot of friends that I can joke with about how many different colors the actual CCS building is painted. I don't know, 5, 6. That's one of the reasons I decided to fly 2,000 miles out for college here. That and the location, I mean, of course, right? But each one of us has had our moments of doubt, times when we didn't know where we were going, what we wanted, and what the future had in store. We still don't know all these things conclusively, still figuring that out. The future is kind of like the sun. It's bright, but you can't really see it perfectly, and it hovers over you every day. But CCS students, we take challenges head on. Myself, I've had to solve problems and answer tough questions both inside and outside of the classroom. If it wasn't for mistakes and missteps, lessons learned, and the rougher times I've had, I would not appreciate graduation and the ride over the last 4 years I've been on as much as I do today. Missing and making up final exams, pulling many all-nighters, tutoring all day while sacrificing time for my own studies, losing bikes and other valuables, moving into Isla Vista, learning how to live on your own, learning how to live with other people, finding a job, finding research, studying and taking GREs, and applying to graduate school. Imagine that, more school after all of this. And I know this list of trials and tribulations, all of our lists, will continue to grow, but we each stand stronger today because of them. The great thing about college classes and the college experience is pushing yourself to new limits and finding out what you love to do. And each one of us graduating seniors has done that. We are fighters. We are lovers. We are thinkers. We are doers. And I know no one can wait to see the things we will do after college. So while some of us are thinking about how strange this all feels right now, a little nervous, myself too, or possibly thinking about the finals some of us have later this week, let's be proud of this, enjoy this, never forget what it took to get here and the people that made it possible. We're going to keep on doing what we've been doing, and that is to seize the opportunity, enjoy the good, learn from the bad, work through the ugly, make the most of it. And if I don't see you, good afternoon, good evening, and good night. Thank you.
Our second student speaker is Jennifer Elizabeth Marsh, Bachelor of Arts in Art. A native of Germany, Jennifer came to CCS as a transfer student from Santa Barbara City College. In addition to her major in studio art, she has also completed a minor in museum studies, was selected to be part of the prestigious Art Studio Honors Program, and has curated the Women's Center Art Gallery, as well as received a University Service Award for her many activities on campus and in the community. Instructors are effusive in their appreciation for her contagious enthusiasm, the inclusiveness of her artistic vision, and her commitment, focus, and skill. She has truly behaved as a graduate student at the undergraduate level, and upon graduation plans to seek a master's degree in art and context at the University of Berlin. Please welcome Jennifer Elizabeth Marsh.
Thank you. Hello to all of you, and hello especially to my parents and brothers who are watching the webcast of this graduation in Germany. As an art student, I've spent the past years gluing and sewing and drawing and writing and getting covered in plaster and paint. I certainly get really excited about how I can physically construct things. I've learned how to pour rubber, how to weld, how to build shelves, how to put together small electric circuits, and how to pattern dresses that actually fit. What has underpinned all of this making, and this is absolutely connected to studying at a university where theoretical investigation is encouraged, is that I always think of how what I make will live in the world. And this is even more exciting, though often also a lot more frustrating. It's kind of the stereotypical existential angst of being an art student. Why is what I am excited about making important? And to whom? What's the point? Being a student at the College of Creative Studies has equipped me with tools that can help find really good answers to these questions. Dan Connolly, who teaches drawing and painting at CCS, and from whom I have oddly enough never taken a class, gave me what I consider the best advice for thinking about making art. Art should present an increase in the available energy. This thought has stuck with me and has set the bar for what quality of art I want to make. Of course, it is great to get excited about making something, but what really makes something art, and not just visual art, by the way, is the ability of something you make and are excited about to excite others. And I think that this kind of contagious excitement can be called creativity. I'm so grateful that at the College of Creative Studies, I experienced an environment in which being swept away by eager excitement is understood and encouraged. It's the kind of place where one can learn how to channel one's excitement into something engaging that is greater than the sum of its parts, something that does present an increase in the available energy. I read part of a book recently that seems really pertinent to that thought, and I want to share some bits with you. The book is called Creativity, Flow and the Psychology of Discovery and Invention, and was written in 1996 by Mihaly Csikszentmihalyi, which is already a rather creative name. He says that all creative people have in common a complex personality that contains contradictory extremes. For example, and I'm simplifying and quoting, creative people tend to be smart yet also naive at the same time. They can use two opposite ways of thinking, the convergent and the divergent. Convergent thinking is measured by IQ tests, and it involves solving well-defined, rational problems that have one correct answer. Divergent thinking leads to no agreed-upon solution. It involves fluency, or the ability to generate a great quantity of ideas, flexibility, or the ability to switch from one perspective to another, and originality in picking unusual associations of ideas. I think that all of us studying in any discipline have at the College of Creative Studies experienced the encouragement of this kind of double thinking. And reading it like Csikszentmihalyi wrote it, it is obvious how we have at CCS become prepared to find unique solutions to problems, new answers to questions, and inspiring ways to channel our excitement. I want to finish by saying that as creative individuals, I think we all share a wish to be generous. There are many ways in which our simultaneously convergent and divergent approach can generate meaningful ideas that become more meaningful as we share them. This is a generosity of spirit that has the potential to make a great difference in how we, as humans, see, approach, research, and represent the world. As we leave CCS to apply our knowledge to the world, I hope we will not forget to always also be generous with ourselves. Congratulations, and I'm excited to see what we'll do.
Our third speaker is Ellen Kathleen O'Connell, Bachelor of Arts in Literature. Ellen is a native Santa Barbarian with English flowing in her brains and veins. Her father is a renowned professor of English at UCSB, and Ellen is also classically trained as a ballerina who has danced professionally. She has been a dynamic force in the literature major, and in particular has served as editor of Spectrum, the oldest continuously published college literary journal in the United States and based at UCSB and CCS. She is simultaneously working to integrate prose and poetry into an experimental and innovative fragmented style that she prefers to call proetry, which she intends to pursue and develop next year as she follows an MFA program at Sarah Lawrence. She is also hoping to collaborate with Jennifer Marsh, our previous student speaker, to create an illustrated book, Synergy in CCS. Please welcome Ellen.
Wow, there are a lot of people out there. Dear parents, friends, and everyone, I have been dreading this day for the whole academic year, and not because I thought I would be up here in front of hundreds of people speaking. I entertained ideas of trying to fail a class, or maybe deferring graduate school for a year, not to work or to lock myself in a garret to write the next great American novel, but just because I couldn't imagine not being in CCS classes. I dreaded the day when I would have to make friends with new professors and walk new hallways, joke with a new dean, and God forbid, not have Leslie in the front office to give me a hug and tell me that everything would work out. I think each and every one of us up here on stage today thinks we're Leslie's favorite student, but for me, I know it's really true. I thought about running away during spring quarter and not fulfilling my Milton requirement, or about pretending I had to stay around to do research for a novel I was going to pretend to write. But then, I knew that if I did find a way to avoid graduating today, that CCS would not be the institution it is. It would be too much a cocoon, and not enough of preparation for what lies beyond college. So, I decided to graduate. And even though my heart felt heavy with so much that comes with ending one chapter and beginning another, I knew I had all the tools that CCS gave me. And then, just when I had come to terms with having to graduate, and even pretending it was a good thing, they asked me to speak. That threw me through another emotional loop. It wasn't enough they were telling me I should graduate because it's been 4 years. They wanted to rub it in more by making me say a public goodbye and thank you to all the dear people and places that have been woven into the fabric of my home in these last years. To make this easier, I'm not imagining any of you in your underwear right now, because that would really make me blush. But I did come up with a list of things I thought about CCS, like it's the thread that holds us all together, and that it would be on us always. I felt much better about the speech, too, until my friend told me it sounded like I was talking about God. But it is something that has given us resources to rethink our outlook on learning, I argued. And if learning is a lifelong pursuit, it gives us a way to redefine a lot of aspects of the life that lies ahead of us. For example, I was raised in a fairly devout Catholic family, and only questioned my theology for the first time recently when I read Paradise Lost in the Milton class I couldn't figure out a way to fail. I was furious with God and with humanity for so many things, not just for forcing me to graduate today, but by all the complex injustice that exists. And the way I've developed of reading literature in CCS was directly responsible for all of this. I was reading God as a character and analyzing his motives. Similarly, I try to take this view of seeing all sides of something, of exploring different motives, hypotheses, angles, and apply it to people who cut me off on the freeway, say, or who yell at me with displaced anger in the supermarket. This is not a moral lesson for anyone, because I don't believe that I'm in a position to deliver that if I'm still trying to reason my way through Milton's God. But it does seem like a particularly CCS way of exercising the patience and sympathy we have developed over the last 4 years. The same patience and sympathy we apply to solving differential equations, or making a sculpture out of yarn, or reading Thomas Hardy novels. CCS has given us tools to reason our way through intellectual endeavors, and more excitingly, perhaps, to change our worldview to be more compassionate through finding alternative solutions to problems and to understanding why these problems occur. The world has turned once more, and now it's time to unleash this new generation on it, as though we've been waiting backstage for our cue to come out. I don't know about you, but today when I am so full of joy and gratitude and pride, I feel as though we're all poised to steal the show. We may feel stage fright, but we know our lines perfectly and have rehearsed them for 4 years in those old World War II Marine barracks, coached by seasoned veterans. And if, as Shakespeare said, all the world's a stage, then I think we 2008 graduates of CCS have heard our entrance cue and are ready to become the characters we have studied in depth since we first began our training. How surreal it is we're all graduating today, and we'll all earn a diploma that says we majored in creative studies with a specific emphasis. How surreal it is that people are asking us all what we will do with the next year, or 5, or 10 of our lives. How surreal we have accomplished as much as we have, and are still so sad to leave this place and these people. The ideas of CCS floating around the rest of the campus involve descriptions of all of us sitting on the lawn singing Kumbaya. But we used to have to beg Robin Bell to let us sit outside when it was hot, and she would rarely let us. The best description I've heard of CCS is that it's much like a graduate school for undergraduates. The faculty treats us like colleagues, and they become our mentors. Where else can we have Sunday evening dinners at professors' houses? When I spent my junior year in France, I regularly corresponded with my teachers, sent them bits of my writing, tales of what I saw as my wild bohemian European adventures, and they, in turn, sent me their news, feedback on my work, and much love and support. I say we are colleagues in this weird and wonderful world of creative studies because this is all reciprocal. I read their work, and they genuinely want to know what I think. And nothing makes you feel less like a college student and more like a writer, or a biologist, or a computer scientist than this sort of reciprocity with faculty. As young and unsuspecting freshmen, we landed in a strange world, housed in an old Marine barrack, and got to live what we studied. We do it with sophistication, real interest, and fearlessness. CCS has made me think and live like a writer and a storyteller, and it has made me believe there is merit in this, even if it's not lucrative or traditional. If I see life as a constantly unfolding story, as I urge you all to do, it makes it seem as though we are inheriting a future from those who have already written the past. Be the protagonist of your own story. Create your own themes, and treat the supporting characters with the respect and creativity we have learned in these past years. In the conquest for truth and poetry in these stories, I hope we all realize that life is a work of art, and that we have learned in CCS how to best explore and create that work of art. If you're as sad as I am to leave, but feel as prepared to turn the page on this chapter and move on, while still letting this chapter affect the plot, characterization, and setting of the next, then CCS has done something divine after all. In fact, it might be another success of CCS that we are so sad to leave. How awful it would be to leave a place and not feel the tug we feel leaving behind something that has shaped us so profoundly. We can live and learn compassionately and ambitiously. Congratulations to each one of you, class of 2008. Our story is only just beginning.
Well, I wanted to thank our commencement speaker, Kit Boise-Cossart, for your visionary and inspiring speech. Thank you. I also wanted to thank our student speakers, Grant, Jennifer, and Ellen, for sharing your CCS experience and your thoughts. Each year, the College of Creative Studies features original compositions by our talented and creative music students. Dean Tiffany will now introduce them.
Thank you, Chancellor Yang. It is a tradition in the College of Creative Studies commencement ceremonies to feature work by graduating seniors in music composition. There are two selections this year: Ideal versus the Real, a video using artwork by Anna Lychenko and Marvin Mariano with music composed by CCS graduating senior Robert Greengold. This will be followed by a movement of Alexis Story Crawshaw's Viola Concerto. Of Ideal versus the Real, composer Robert Greengold writes, "This project fuses the sounds of mallet percussion with artwork rendered using the Facebook application Graffiti. Ah, brave new world. The artwork addresses issues of climate change, and the visuals inspired the music. Although these works are politically charged, the art itself is an astounding demonstration of what talents Facebook users have when given such simple applications to work with, such as Facebook Graffiti and the virtual brushstrokes involved in creating such art, as can be seen here. Along with the visuals, the meanings and messages of these works contributed to my voicing of them through percussive music, which in itself has an atmospheric quality that seems to lead in a new direction." Violist Hilary Schopp and pianist Margaret Halbig will perform the third movement of Alexis Story Crawshaw's Viola Concerto. The composer notes that she worked on this concerto for over a year, and that the movement we will hear during commencement has been scored for full orchestra and was read by the UCSB Orchestra this May. I also want to add that Alexis is the recipient of a first-place Corwin Prize in Music Composition in the Electroacoustic Division. This is a competition in composition at UCSB that is normally dominated by graduate students, but CCS undergraduates consistently come in, show, place, and frequently lead. With that, the two musical performances, the first, the video. Robert, would you please stand up? Robert Greengold. Not here. Okay. Yes, Boo.
Thank you, Dean Tiffany, and thank you to Dr. Leslie Hogan and Dr. Jeremy Haladina, and to our music composition graduates and performers for your wonderful work. Is Alexis here? Where Alex is? Stand up, be recognized. We appreciate your talent and creativity. Each year, awards for excellence in undergraduate research are made to a graduating senior with distinction as an undergraduate researcher. On behalf of myself and the academic senate, I take great pleasure in presenting this year's Chancellor's Award for Excellence in Undergraduate Research to Kyle Jacoby. Kyle. Yeah. Come good. Kyle is receiving his Bachelor of Arts degree in biology from our College of Creative Studies. Congratulations, Kyle.
Congratulations, Kyle, and thank you, Chancellor Yang. This year I am happy to